Today we descend deeper to where true emotions become visible on an entirely different level. Forget bouquets of flowers and grand words. Those are just facades. We're talking about what happens when the masks fall. In that sacred space of intimacy, where the real signs appear that a man is deeply involved. And our companion on this journey of discovery is the great Carl Jung, a master of exploring the unconscious. He knew a man's most authentic behavior in moments of closeness is like a map of his soul. You'll recognize how a man sincerely shows his affection and which clues are undeniable proof of his inner attachment. We'll reveal the most secret signs, the ones that speak louder than any declaration of love. This will be a journey into the male psyche, where we analyze the subtle signs of a deep connection, especially in the moments of greatest intimacy, when small details reveal everything. If you're ready for honest, bold, but true revelations, then hold on tight. And if you appreciate our work, feel free to show it with a like, a subscription, or a comment. Your opinion means a lot to us. So let's begin. What do men do when they truly feel deeply? First sign, the gaze into your soul. Let's start with a classic. Deep eye contact during intimate moments. This special gaze in which he doesn't just look, but seems to see into your soul, as if he wants to read your desires and fears, and at the same time reveals his own. Jung said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is a reaction, both are transformed." This eye contact is exactly that reaction, a catalyst for soul fusion. When a man, in moments of greatest vulnerability, doesn't look away but seeks your eyes and gently holds the gaze, then he is surrendering himself to you completely, unfiltered with light and shadow. Such openness requires courage and deep trust. Men who only know superficial relationships avoid this kind of emotional striptease. For them, physical closeness is merely an act, not a sacred ritual. But when he looks at you with a gaze full of vulnerability and adoration, his unconscious speaks, "I'm here, completely, and I'm not afraid." If he avoids it, it's a sign that he still shies away from depth or doesn't harbor such strong feelings. According to Jung, that's his shadow side, hidden fears that hold him back. So, pay close attention. If his eyes are open like a gate to his world, then you mean far more to him than just a fleeting adventure. Such a gaze can't be faked, unless he's a brilliant actor, but even then, his micro-expressions will betray him. Second sign, his joy lies in your joy. The next sign, when he genuinely, not out of obligation, strives to bring you joy, sometimes even forgetting himself in the process. Then his feelings have grown far beyond physical attraction. Jung said, "Where love rules, there is no will to power." In intimate moments, a loving man will not try to dominate or prove himself. His goal is to see your smile, to feel your reactions, both physical and emotional. This is not passive submission, it's an empathetic merging. Your joy is his. A man who only thinks of himself acts mechanically, doesn't ask about your feelings and simply falls asleep afterward. That's his shadow, selfish impulse. But when true feelings are involved, his ego steps aside, and his anima takes over, the inner feminine aspect in him, responsible for tenderness, care, and the need for deep connection. She whispers to him, "Make her happy, and you'll be happier too." And he listens. You'll notice it. In the attention he pays to your body, in his desire to know your sensitive points, in his openness to what you like, in his questions about your sensations. He reads your desires from your breath, from every movement, extends the tenderness, and doesn't stop until your smile tells him, "I'm happy." That's the alchemical connection of two souls Jung spoke of. Such a man is not just a good lover, he is a man who truly values you as a person. If he behaves in bed like a careful gardener, tending to your joy, and not like a lumberjack, then you've found a point in his favor. Third sign, the closeness afterward. And then comes a decisive moment. What happens after the passion fades and the bodies relax? Many consider the act itself the end, but the true spirit of love reveals itself in the moments after. Jung once wrote that the dream is like a hidden little door that leads us to that original cosmic night where the soul was before consciousness was born. The moments after union, when rational thought withdraws, resemble a daydream. The man's soul then opens that secret door. If a man turns away immediately after the climax, it was a purely physical act. He doesn't seek emotional connection, or he fears it. His ego takes control again, and the walls of distance are rebuilt. But if he instead pulls you close, gently strokes your hair, kisses you, whispers something in your ear, shares intimate thoughts or memories, or simply holds you and lets you feel his heartbeat, that is pure gold. It's his unconscious wish to extend the closeness, to shift it from the physical to the emotional and spiritual. His soul takes the lead again, longing for connection and merging. A truly loving man instinctively feels that these minutes after intimacy are fertile ground for deeper trust and emotional bonding. He's not afraid to show vulnerability. Beside you, he feels safe, accepted, just as he is. Maybe he just looks at you in silence. And in that silence lies more love than in 1,000 words. Or he tells you about his dreams and fears, a sign of deepest trust, because men rarely share their inner universe. His social mask falls and you see his true self. Pay attention to these little gestures, how he holds you, what he says, or what he remains silent about. In them lies a wealth of information about his feelings. If after intimacy you feel loved, secure, and warmly embraced, then you are not mistaken. But if only emptiness remains, it was not love, just a physical encounter. Fourth sign, the dance of two. Now we enter an almost mystical terrain, something Jung might have described as an expression of the collective unconscious. Let's call it the dance of two. It is that unconscious synchronization of movement, breath, even heartbeat, that arises between two people who are truly connected, especially in moments of deep union. It's not about memorized positions or acrobatic routines. It's about that almost magical, barely perceptible harmony in which your bodies speak to each other, silently understand one another, without words, without looks. Have you ever noticed how you move in sync when you hug? As if an invisible impulse is guiding you, or how his hand finds yours exactly at the moment you need it. How your breathing adjusts to his rhythm until an almost cosmic merging takes place. That is the dance choreographed by the unconscious, accompanied by the music of a deep emotional connection. What modern science calls limbic synchronization or mirroring, Jung would have attributed to the archetype of the divine couple, that ancient longing for wholeness through fusion with the other, deeply rooted within us. When a man is truly in love, his nervous system instinctively attunes to your frequency. His body is no longer just a physical shell, but an expression of his feelings. his soul wanting to resonate with yours. It's not imitation. It's a spontaneous organic co-movement, a shared sensing on the physical level. He might unconsciously mirror your gestures. His touches fit perfectly with what you need at that moment. Even if you never said a word, his body wraps around yours as if it were made just for that. Compare that to the clumsy, uncoordinated movements of a casual lover, where each person clearly feels their own boundary. The body remains guarded, the gestures mechanical and empty. In such moments, there is no room for this dance, only mechanics. But where love reigns, control and vigilance disappear. Walls of protection fall, and the bodies begin to sing in harmony. This is the most honest and truest of all hidden signs of love, because the body cannot lie like the tongue can. If you feel this almost mystical synchrony, this ease, this natural flow in your shared movements, then know your connection goes far beyond the physical. You've already reached the level of spiritual affinity embodied in a shared dance, Jung's theory and the depth of emotions. Now that we've looked at these four powerful signs, the real question arises: why does all this happen? Where does this magic of glances, this devotion, this tenderness, this shared rhythm come from? The answer lies in depth psychology as Carl Jung understood it, in his key concepts such as anima, shadow, and the process of individuation that takes place through relationships. For Jung, love is not just a fleeting feeling, but a powerful psychological event, a catalyst for personal growth and an encounter between the conscious and the vast world of the unconscious. At the center of his theory is the idea that every man carries an anima, his inner, mostly unconscious feminine counterpart. She is an ideal image of a woman, shaped by personal experiences, the relationship to the mother, and cultural influences. When a man truly falls in love, he in a way projects his anima onto a particular woman. She appears familiar to him, like the missing puzzle piece, because she resonates with this inner image. But that's only the beginning of the journey. True, mature love, according to Jung, demands much more. It requires an encounter not only with the idealized image, but also with the shadow of the partner, and above all, with one's own shadow. The shadow represents those parts of our personality we don't want to accept: fears, selfishness, insecurities, the things we suppress. Especially in relationships, and particularly in moments of intimacy, these dark sides inevitably surface. And here lies the true test of love. If a man is willing to face his inner demons and those of his partner without running away, but with the desire to understand and integrate, then love becomes a path of individuation, a journey toward wholeness. That's why a man's behavior in intimacy is so revealing. In moments of vulnerability, when the social masks fall, the unconscious speaks the loudest. The deep eye contact shows the willingness to reveal his soul, including its shadow. The sincere effort for your joy is the expression of an integrated anima, a soul capable of empathy, not just the self-centeredness of the shadow. The tenderness after closeness is the courage to show oneself when the ego is silent. The synchronized dance is the expression of archetypal wholeness when two souls resonate in deep harmony. All these signs are therefore not mere gestures. They are indicators of his inner maturity, his readiness for a real connection that transforms you both. If you understand this, you will not only see a good partner, but a human being who grows by your side, evolves, and becomes the best version of himself. And this shared evolution, is perhaps the greatest proof of love, both within and beyond intimacy. Conclusion: the true connection. And so, my dears, we have completed a journey through the most hidden corners of the male soul, guided by the wisdom of the great Carl Gustav Jung. We've analyzed 4 nearly infallible signs to recognize whether a man is not only physically attracted, but deeply and sincerely involved. From the intense gaze that reaches into the soul, to the selfless devotion to your well-being, the tender vulnerability after closeness, to the almost mystical dance of synchronized movements. All of this is not coincidental behavior, but the language of his unconscious. It speaks of love louder than any word. Now you know, behind all these signs lies something greater than mere chemistry. It is the soul's resonance of 2 beings meeting on the deepest level. There is a complex psychological process that Carl Jung describes. It includes the projection of the anima, the encounter with the shadow, and the inner drive toward individuation through a deep emotional bond. Next time you lie in your chosen one's arms, you can be more than just participants in a moment of passion. You can become attentive, wise observers, capable of distinguishing the pure gold of true feelings from the gilded imitation of fleeting attraction. Remember, the body rarely lies, especially not in those moments when the control of consciousness fades. Listen to its silent signals. Trust your intuition, and you will always know what place you truly hold in his heart and in his life. This knowledge is your strength, your security, and the key to creating relationships that are truly deep and meaningful. We truly hope that this insight into male psychology and Jungian concepts was not only interesting for you but also helpful. If you learned something new or felt affirmed in your own intuitions, we warmly invite you to share your thoughts, experiences, and observations with us in the comments below. We are very eager to read what signs of real connection you've discovered in your life. And of course, if you enjoy our work and want more of this kind of deep content, please support us with a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any future videos, because we do this with passion and we do it for you.